And welcome back to another bit of Hollywood history. Today we talk about a young, ambitious man from Chicago. In 1923, he moved into this house with his uncle. He would pay him $5 a week to rent a room from him, and an extra $1 to rent his garage so he could run his own animation projects. Well, those worked out pretty well. Later that year, he sold his Alice comedies, and that enabled him to get a house of his own. That one. By 1925, just 2 years later, Walt Disney was now married and living in this apartment block. I guess the dating scene in LA was a little easier back then. Anyway, they didn't last here long because she didn't like living in an apartment and he was hitting it big. So, time to move again just a year later. In 1928, Walt Disney bought this lot and created his own studios. This is where he created Mickey Mouse, Snow White, all those early creations which turned him into a legend. In 1940, he vacated this lot and moved north to Studio City, where he continued his feature-length productions. And then in the 60s, America did what America does best, which is tear down the cultural heritage spot and build a shopping center in its place. There's something which I find personally quite cool, which is Walt Disney would have lived and worked in this area, and as you can see, get all these kinds of places. These, for example, are known as the Snow White cottages now. But they would have been a constant source of inspiration for his type of fairy tale animation. And finally here we have the Tam O'Shanty. It's a bar in Los Feliz that Walt Disney was well known to spend some time at. And well, here's how it used to look. And you tell me if it doesn't remind you of something.
Oh, it's adorable. Just like a doll's house.
I've just been told by one of the longest workers of this place that Walt Disney used to sit in this very spot, and he would carve on the table some of his early sketches, while he would sit and talk with everybody. Can we see it?
But now, this table had a dedicated exchange line. You know an exchange, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there was an exchange line that was put in here because whenever Walt wanted the lads to come down and work, he would end up, ringing them up saying, "Come down, I want to work today," and they would have to drop everything and come down. And the reason behind it is leading up to this. Found out about this, what these carvings all mean here roughly about 2 months ago. So when I was first started on here, I thought that this was supposed to be 2 of the 7 dwarfs, right? Turns out it isn't. It's the Mexican boy and the cowboy from the flyer for It's a Small World. And the rhombuses here was actually part of the main layout for that flyer. But I finally found out what this means. IASW February 14 is OP1G. It's a Small World February 14th is Open Gate 1G. So the man who was actually working on the flyer was sitting here. And the thing about the exchange line goes hand in glove with this. Contact Carlos about tomorrow. Carlos was the head groundsman who knew more about operations than anyone else. And so they needed to talk with him to make sure they had everything sorted to get It's a Small World up and running without any hitches. And this right here is the exchange line for unit number 2 over in the Imaginer's Village, right behind the Gilsons.
Yep.
So whoever lived in unit 2, that was his number.
Well, they just carved that right in. Huh?
Well, I mean, and the dumbest things, like I said, I didn't find out about these things here until a couple of months ago.
Right.
Because one of my pals, one of my regulars actually, is friends with one of the last surviving Imaginers. Spilled the beans on everything.
Oh, that's great. Oh, this table is full of stories.
Well, and the thing was about this table...
Dinosaur there of some kind. It's a dinosaur of some kind. Yeah.
Tyrannosaurus.
Yes.
Complete with volcano.
Yes, volcano erupting in the background. Yeah, okay. That's
So
great.
the thing about this table is that you're allowed to sit here, but if you do any damage to the table whatsoever, we have to put it away. And I guarantee you, if there's any damage, there are many disciples of the Church of St. Walt who will be coming knocking at your door. This was his working table, but I found out from his personal assistant. This is when he sat to have his tea.
Oh, okay. So if he was business, he was over there, and if he was leisure, it was over here. Okay.
Always. There was a curtain that was over here that he could always pull across so that he could never be bothered. No one even know he was here.
Okay.
She always used to sit right over there across from him, and it was just, you know, he would
Yeah,
forget the world
private,
ever
yeah.
existed. Yeah.
Oh, was there more?
Oh,
I'm liking this.
All right, lunch has been served.
Thank you very much.
so this was, remember the interior of the dwarves' cottage there, right over by the fire?
Yep.
And just look at that fireplace. It's covered with dust.
This was the inspiration.
And there it is.
So when they were working on the actual interior shots, Walt would always reject everything. You know, they came concept, couldn't stand it. So one of the lads just decided to take a bev nap, draw the interior quick, hand to him. I love it, let's run with it.
OCD Walt. That's brilliant. Well,
Well, yeah, have a seat.